Attention everyone, if you want to start making your way towards the atrium space, we will begin the program shortly. Again, our program will begin shortly. Thank you.
very much to everyone for coming this evening. Louder. Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening at the John Hager High. Sorry. I just would like to welcome everyone to our program this evening. Thank you for joining us. My name is Christy Farley. I'm the Senior Vice President of External Affairs and Engagement. It was my pleasure to join President Hager in 2004 when he hired me to Northern Arizona University. I was a young mom with my first child, and President Hager was very patient to go through my growing pains of traveling back and forth between Phoenix and Flagstaff. And he traveled back and forth between Flagstaff and Phoenix on a number of occasions. So it was before we were all used to Zoom as our regular form of communication. And we spent a lot of time on the phone and a lot of time on the road to develop our relationships. And what I will tell you is that while we're here to name a building after President Hager, what President Hager is most known for are the relationships that he built both in this community and on this campus. And it is my very great pleasure. It is my very great pleasure to recognize him for all that he did for Northern Arizona University and to have worked for him for his tenure here. So with that, I will introduce Chairperson Lindell Manson, Chair of the Arizona Board of Regents.
Thank you, Christy. And so my time actually overlapped significantly with President Hager's. I moved here in 2001. They moved here in 2000. But I really wasn't all that involved with NAU at that point in time. I had small people to take care of and was not at the college level of educational involvement at that point. But it is really my great pleasure to join you all today and to be able to be here to share this wonderful occasion honoring President Emeritus John Hager. So when people talk about President Hager, I hear the words kind, caring, and approachable almost every time. And these are the things that we want the HLC to be. So it's exceedingly appropriate that we're here today dedicating this building and its incredible service to NAU to President Hager. He is a true champion of higher education in Arizona. So his tireless dedication to advancing student success and higher education broadly in the state was an inspiration when he was president and remains a lasting legacy. NAU grew tremendously under your leadership. 14 years, total enrollment increased over 34% during your tenure. And as part of the Regents' goal of increasing access and affordability to higher education, he launched several initiatives to give more students more choices for bachelor's degrees at different price points and delivery methods. During his presidency, many of his efforts led to increased diversity of the student body, including the opening of the Native American Cultural Center. He developed a nationally recognized 2NAU program. He established partnerships with our state community colleges to ease the transfer process, and he created an innovative partnership with NAU Yavapai, offering bachelor's degrees that allowed students to complete the program in 3 years at a lower cost. These were huge changes in an environment that was fairly well established and stayed and did the things it did the way it did them. He proved to be a visionary when it came to online learning, and he accelerated the online and distance learning programs and ushered in a new era of higher education through the launch of personalized learning. So President Hager oversaw major renovations in the Flagstaff campus to meet the changing needs of the students, faculty, and staff, including the High Country Conference Center, which we use routinely. So it's extremely fitting that the Health and Learning Center will be named in his honor, and as he oversaw the expansion of nursing and health programs at the university while he was president. I'm happy to be here today for this historic occasion, and thrilled that President Emeritus John Hager will forever be remembered on this campus in many ways, including through the naming of this center.
Thank you, Chair Manson. We appreciate your remarks about President Hager and can't express enough how much those resemble the person that we knew here on this campus and everything that he lived every day. So with that, I will introduce our current president, 17th president of Northern Arizona University, President Jose Luis Cruz Rivera. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here today as we celebrate the life and the legacy of President Hager. So, as I started my tenure here as the 17th president of NAU, some of the main issues, the main challenges that we have decided are important for us to invest the time, talent, and energy of our internal and external community pretty much resemble those that President Hager faced many, many years ago. We are being called to broaden participation, to expand access to the people of Arizona and beyond to a high-quality higher education. We're being called to embrace the responsibility to ensure that that education leads to great post-college outcomes for our graduates, not only from the perspective of better careers, but also by empowering them to be more and better engaged members of our society. And we're being called on to extend our reach, to expand our impact, to make sure that we grow this university, that we give access to the excellence of this university to more, but that we do so in a sustainable way. So as we embark in addressing these challenges, it makes sense to look back at what President Hager did. And it's not really difficult to do that because every time that I ask someone or engage someone in a conversation about any one of these topics, so for example, the importance of trust, transparency, and respect in guiding and leading a university such as NAU, I will hear things like, well, you know, President Hager, fill in the blank, did this, did that. Well, we need to engage and mobilize the campus community. Well, you know, like President Hager, that time when you can fill in the blank. We need to really make sure that the work that we're doing is substantive and that it's really not only about developing academic programs that produce degrees, but also that not only also do they lead to better economic development, but that they establish our university as a cultural hub for the community that we serve. Well, you should look at what President Hager did back in. So, you know, it's in this first 9 months of my presidency, if there were to be a word cloud, it would be President Hager, President Hager, President Hager. And sometimes, you know, it's like, well, it's kind of hard to live under the shadow of such a great leader, but it's also an inspiration. And we very much look forward to ensuring that the foundation that you built here at NAU is sustained over time and that we build on it in a way that would make you proud of your legacy and what you have taught all of us. Chair Manson talked a little bit about all of the things that were accomplished under President Hager's leadership, so I will not delve too much into that, but just to underscore that many of the things Chair Manson mentioned that happened during President Hager's tenure were really ahead of their time. So when you think about a program like CC2NAU, the articulation of community colleges with four-year colleges, when you think about online and personalized learning, and to be more specific, when you think about the importance of creating spaces in a university setting so that diverse students could affirm their identity, so that they could build community, and that then that would empower them to invite others to learn from the diversity that they brought to the campus. All of those things that were accomplished during President Hager's time were at least a decade or two ahead of their time. And that talks to his visionary leadership and to his real interest in thinking deeply about how to better the lives of the students that we serve. So this building, he and I had a chance to have lunch just a couple of days ago, and I'm not gonna reveal any of the important advice he gave me. Because I want to take credit for the successes later on. But in describing to me how this building came to be, it was clear that it was a brilliantly executed strategy, that in order to have this building become a reality, a building that has an escalator that goes in only one direction, in order to pull that off, he had to engage a lot of people, and he had to really think outside of the box to make sure that this place could be funded in the way that it needed to be to become this wonderful facility. So all of the characteristics that have been shared today about his leadership and his approach are kind of embodied in how this building came about and what happens today inside of this building. So with that, I will just invite President Hager to approach the stage here, and I will do my best to not knock anything over. So the plaque reads as follows: John Hager Health and Learning Center, dates of service 2001 through 2014. During Dr. Hager's 14 years of service, including 12 as president, NAU experienced transformational growth in both student enrollment and innovative facilities. Of the 25 new buildings completed during his tenure, 25. The centerpiece is the Health and Learning Center, a testament to NAU's commitment to education and student health and wellness. A big round of applause to our leader, President Hager.
So I was going to mention to the president something that I always followed as a rule, and probably advice to the president, is never turn the microphone over to somebody over 75. But I will be very short, because I know people have been here a long time. But I did want to talk just a little bit about the origins of this building, because it reflects very much how we operated during my presidency. My name is on the building, but this building is the responsibility of a whole lot of people who work for me and a whole lot of people who supported this university. And so some of the principles that are in this building that I can briefly talk about reflected the way we operated. One is, you can't run a university, which is one of the most complex institutions in our society, unless you have partners everywhere. And I mean everywhere. In town, out of town, on the university campus, faculty, students. And if they're all pulling together, you got a chance of making things happen. And that's one of the things that we believed as a second principle, is you constantly have to make the university community a whole entity that believes in one another and trusts one another. And then a third one, because the president did mention this, we had built a huge number of buildings in the time I was president, and we'd gotten to the point, I was towards the end of my presidency, and people kept telling me, John, it's nice to have a lot of students here, but we don't have the facilities in terms of either classrooms, healthcare, or the kind of exercise facilities that a student population needs. And so then the idea bubbled up, and it wasn't my idea. Actually, I think it probably came out of student life, but nobody ever told me exactly where it came from. And the idea was, well, your last building, John, you have a little bit of bonding capacity left, and you need to get some other partners to build this building. And so then we began to look for partners. And they came from a really odd collection of people. Obviously, the people who worked for me were very much a part of it. But the other were the students built this building. And people in student life at the time went and talked to students and said, here's what we want to do, but the president actually doesn't have enough money to get it done. And in walks the Associated Students of Northern Arizona and the people from student life who said to me, Mr. President, we have a proposal for you. How about a $110 million building, built bigger than anything you ever did, and the students are going to help you pay for it by taxing themselves. Now, these are the same students who opposed every single tuition increase I suggested for 12 years. And they did it. And that's how this building eventually emerged, was from the ability to be entrepreneurial. And in this case, the entrepreneurs weren't coming from the president's office. They were coming from the students and from the administrators who worked with the student body of this institution. So in many ways, my name stands on this building, but it's for everybody who worked for me. And I very much appreciated it. Thank you.
Thank you, President Hager. We're very honored to have you recognized in this way. And to one of my friends who I feel like we have grown up at this university together, and I know has a lot to add to this event tonight, I'd like to introduce Dr. Paul Keim to comment about our president, President John Hager. There he is.
After all these years, you sure I hadn't shown up? Well, what a great pleasure and honor to be here as a part of this event and to be a part of honoring John Hager for everything that he's done all over the years. You know, this building is really just a symbol of much more that he's done for this university. It was during the recession of 2008. You remember that, right? GDP dropped 5%, unemployment 6%. You know, it was just crazy. And John Hager said to me, he goes, you know, we have a great opportunity here. I'm thinking, oh, Northern Arizona, we're going to deal with this great recession. And he said, you know, we have a lot of bonding capacity. You know, we have students coming. The bonding agencies have given us a great rating. The construction companies, I want to look at Tim Kinney, wherever he's at, need jobs, you know? So Tim, his people aren't working, and he's going to give us a really good rate on building buildings. And so what John recognized was that, in fact, this was a chance to actually do something with a very special time with some financial leverage that we were uniquely had. And, you know, that illustrated to me why he was running the university and the rest of us weren't, because he just saw this as an opportunity when the rest of us didn't. So, you know, when you, he had this stimulus package, and John told me the other day he actually built $1 billion worth of buildings here, or nearly $1 billion. And so, you know, that's not quite the same stimulus package that Joe Biden put forward recently, but it's pretty good. And to think that the university had that type of a financial clout that we could actually pull together over that decade that you did this, $1 billion to build buildings. And this building is one of those, but I just heard it tonight. I guess there were 25 others. And of course, the High Country Conference Center is definitely one of those shining lights. That was a controversial building. Getting that one, the city to accept it, I'll look at the mayor now, getting the city to accept the university building that conference center was quite a feat that John pulled off. Another one was the Applied Research and Development Building. That's the building I'm in across campus here. That building is a Platinum LEED building. It's still one of the greenest buildings in the world. And so that was a very special building that was called out and helped foster the entire environment of the green culture on campus. And so, when you build buildings, it's easy to see them, right? So we've got a building here that we can look at, and we know that John, now we're going to have his name on it, so we really know he's responsible for it. But he did all these other things that you really can't see. He was building up bridges. And to use that metaphor, he was really building bridges between the different faculty, the different academic centers on campus, and also other institutions across the state, including our sister universities. And so during that period when he was here, it was really a renaissance period when on campus we started doing science and scholarship at a different level than we ever had before. It was really the time when NAU started to really fulfill its potential as a university. And so it was an amazing time, and again, it had to do with this building bridges. In my own personal journey, John played an enormous role in fostering the relationship with TGen. In the early 2002, TGen came to Arizona, and at that time, all three universities had a chance to partner with TGen and do something special. Well, I shouldn't say anything negative about the other universities, but NAU did it. And, to this day, one of the great nonprofit organizations in Flagstaff is TGen North. And I think we all began to realize how important that was during a pandemic. So in closing, maybe because I'm actually a preacher's kid, I'm going to rechristen John as John the Builder. It's very biblical. It's kind of like John the Baptist, But you're going to be John the Builder. And just think about it. If you were Russian, you would be Ivan the Builder. And you'd be the most recent of a long string of famous Ivans, some of which we probably don't want to mention. So John the Builder, built an academic environment that fostered this increased scholarship and human infrastructure. And the glue that held that all together is really trust. I've been approached many times by different institutions asking, well, how'd you pull that off? How'd you bring TGen to Flagstaff? And it was really because John trusted Jeff Trent and I to do something. So, John, thanks.
Back down to the shorty. Thank you, Dr. Keim. And I just want to close with, we've talked a lot about the things that happened here on this campus and the amazing partnerships that we brought to Flagstaff. And I just want to add the amazing things that happened outside of this campus and the partnerships that were built and the foundation that President Hager laid. So the statewide programs, the online programs that were mentioned today, and the partnerships with the other universities in the Phoenix Biomedical Campus. So I was very blessed to be part of an initiative to expand allied health programs. And we brought in a consultant to talk about what that academic program looked like. And we considered what we should evaluate in terms of programmatic expansion for Northern Arizona University, who had a long time reputation for offering a doctorate of physical therapy. And our entree to compete with a medical school and provide comparative programs next to the University of Arizona has been a unique experience on site of what we now call the Phoenix Biosciences Core in Central Phoenix. And we grew from what was a cohort of 49 students in 2012 when that campus started to over 400 graduate students and NAU's second largest campus. So the vision that was set and the academic programs that grew based on the partnerships and the relationships that were required, I know will be built on the foundation that President Hager started by President Jose Cruz Rivera. And I think that we are very blessed to see what that looks like today and to honor that and to look forward for the future. And so we're very grateful and we're happy to recognize you today. So thank you so much for everything and for everybody gathering today.